Okay, how many of you ate too much candy? Let's have confessional right here, good to cleanse, Of course, last week we had many of our wonderful people in our community come forward and wear their costumes, and Halloween is a fun time. It's, in times like it where we get to dress up in costume and put on mask and just for a brief time, just kind of suspend reality for a little bit. Sometimes we'll go to parties or we'll do different things to pretend and get into an other kind of consciousness from our everyday routines. So those things can be kind of fun to have moments of escape. They can be, when done in moderation, they can be healthy and renewing and refreshing. I would submit to you that there are other times and points when we, as human beings, can put on masks that aren't so healthy. And we do it for much the same reason, for escape. But this is an unhealthy kind of escape. It's an escape that we can delude ourselves to in our consciousness when we want to get away from things about ourselves that we might not be proud of, or we want to delude our sense of our inner shame or our inner pain. And oftentimes what that will do is that will cause us to put on these social masks, if you will. These social masks where we don't want people outside of ourselves to really know what we're really feeling, what we're really experiencing. We don't want other people to know how shameful we feel about ourselves. So we put on, what's in our heart might be like this. We put on the mask and we're like, and we go out and we interact with people and we put on the smile. And, us human beings, we have a great ability to act. Some of us even earn Oscars for it. We go out and we smile and we put forward this face. And because it's driven by shame or inner pain or trauma, we go even with more gusto and we begin to act in ways that we feel that the people that we're around will be more accepting of us. So all sense of self is lost, severe crisis of meaning, and so we have on the mask because we don't really want people to see our inner shame, or we don't really, we think less of ourselves than what we should. Now, as I'm giving this talk, this is pretty much a story of my life. I've had severe crisis of meaning in terms of self-worth and self-esteem. I went through an interesting paradox. I had very loving parents who were supportive and affirming and always uplifting. And it was a beautiful experience until I left the house. And when I went to school, or when I went to hang out in the neighborhood, I was the socially awkward kid. I was the misfit. I was the kid that was singled out for teasing, ridiculing, and bullying. So I had this interesting paradox. And so what I would do is I would put on the mask. And then I'd go out and interact with my friends, or what I thought was my friends or my peer group, and I would act in ways that was other than myself to try to better fit in, because I'm hoping that the more I'm able to fit in, the more I'll be accepted. And the more that I'm accepted, hopefully the teasing, the bullying, the ridicule would subside and stop. Funny thing though, for as much as I tried to do that, it never stopped. And I never got that it stopped until I was in my 40s. I didn't start healing from that until I was in my mid-40s. I could put on the great mask and, go out and act the part. But inside, I was hurting. And the only reason why I didn't tip over and fall is because I had parents that wouldn't allow me to tip over and fall. I hate to think about life if I didn't have those two magnificent human beings in my life to counterbalance what I believe to be hell, going outside and going to school. Not wanting to get out of bed every day because I knew what the day would entail. So I'm well familiar with wearing these masks. And we all have worn them at different points in time to hide that shame, to hide whatever feelings and beliefs that we allowed ourselves to believe that tells us that we're not enough or that there is not enough, feelings and beliefs of lack, or I don't measure up, or I'm not smart, and I'm not handsome, or I'm inadequate. Those very damaging, destructive, limiting beliefs. And some of us come to these beliefs because we've gone through abusive experiences or horrible experiences that have dampened and doomed our sense of who we are. Other times, it could be some chemical imbalances that people go through, other words, mental health issues, where I want to go this way, but there's chemical imbalances that are taking me that way. So what happens? And some of us, we've done things in our past that we're not proud of. And rather than recognizing that as a moment in time where we tried to do the best that we could do with the consciousness that we were operating on at the time, we take that moment that we're not proud on and then we put it on like a jacket and wear it and begin to self-identify as that unfortunate moment. And then that causes us to walk with a sense of pain or a sense of shame or we're not enough or I screwed up, and because I screwed up, that means I'm a bad person. That means I'm an inadequate person. That means I don't measure up. That means I will never be able to grow past and beyond my mistake and be something greater, higher, or better. And I don't want anybody else to know, so I'm going to put on the mask. Hey, here I am. Please don't look behind the mask. Please don't even recognize that I even have on a mask. Don't get too close, because I don't want you to see my shame. And because this is what I experienced, here's what I realized. Really, the whole idea of putting on masks to hide from others what is in me that I might feel ashamed of or inadequate really is me self-deluding myself and hiding from the shame myself, within myself. When people do this in the extreme, addictions can come into play. I'm going to lose myself in this bottle, or I'm going to lose myself in this alternative substance, or I'm going to lose myself in shopping because I want to escape from that which is in me that is giving me pain and giving me trouble, and I don't want to face it. I don't want to have to deal with it. So I'm going to go out there and engage with more of what's out there. And if I can get something that's out there that can delude my senses even for a temporary time, that I'm hurting, that I'm wounded, then I can do it. So it's really a masking, if you will, of ourselves to our reality. And what I have found is the best remedy is not to run from it, not to hide, but to take off the mask and really sit with whatever is there. Because by sitting with whatever is there, it has a dissipating effect. And then we can begin to build ourselves up in more healthy thoughts and more healthy beliefs that are truly consistent with what and who we are. Now, we sometimes hide because we believe ourselves to be lesser than what we really are. We believe ourselves to be lesser than what we are. Let's square that with these words here from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. It comes from Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. Now, there's another place in this scripture where Jesus refers to himself as the light of the world. But in this particular sermon, he made it a point to come up with an idea and formulate words to say, you are the light of the world. Kind of doesn't square with that shamefulness that we feel sometimes because we don't feel that we're enough or we feel that we're inadequate. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a bushel basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. He's talking about you. Each and every one of you, without exception. It didn't read, you are the light of the world, except for the mistake you've made. You are the light of the world only if you feel inadequate, only if you feel adequate. And if you don't feel adequate, then this is canceled out. It didn't say, you are the light of the world, but. You are the light of the world, period, full stop. That's each and every one of you. That's me. That's us. We are the light of the world. Want me to prove it to you? This sanctuary that we're in, without the activity of us being here, it is just a brick building. It's not the building that makes this spiritual community what it is. It's each and every one of us. It's the interaction. It's the love that we show one another. It's the zeal and excitement that we bring when we come in here. It's even the moments when we come in here because we need a lift and need a charge. If I need a lift and a charge and I walk in this building and there's no one in here but me, I don't get that lift or that charge. It's because I come around you, you're shining your light, which reminds me of my light, then I can put some kerosene on my light and refire up and rejuvenate and shine brilliantly. You are the light of the world. You're the light in your family. You're the light in your places of employment or your workplaces or your businesses. If you have a business, it's because the light of an idea sparked in you and you operated on it and you acted on it in a way to where other people can be employed by that business and the community can be served by it. It's the light within you that caused that. Did I prove it sufficiently? You are the light of the world. And let me tell you something. When you're wearing that mask, what you're really hiding is God. You are the face of God. Each and every one of us is that face. when you are hiding, you are frustrating the divine potential within you from expressing. It's more powerful than your mask, so it's still going to come out in various ways. But why let a flicker of light come out? Why let just a ray of light come out of you? How about take off the mask, and instead of mousing up like this, how about doing this? How about doing this? Let's all do this together. Let's all stand up, and do this. And don't hit anyone next to you. Repeat after me. I am the face of God. I am not my mistake. I am not my shame. My shame is not a real thing. The light of God in me is. I am a child of God. And gosh darn it, I'm going to act like it. And so it is. You guys feel okay? All right, I'm going to go sit over here now.